Today's Steelers Talk video is sponsored by RexMD. Go to rexmd.com/chat to get 90% off your first order of generic Viagra or Cialis today. Going to talk about them here in just a second. But before we get into that, we have some great Steelers news and rumors to break down with you guys on today's show. Starting with Najee Harris, head coach Mike Tomlin revealed his plan to preserve him during the 2023 season. Definitely an interesting strategy. And then also ESPN analyst and former Steeler Ryan Clark has said that George Pickens is more talented than Justin Jefferson. I'm going to let you know my thoughts later on in today's show. And then, of course, we will have the Steelers injury update, getting you guys ready for that Saturday night preseason matchup against the Buffalo Bills. But before we get into the news and rumors of the day, go ahead and get into the comments section and get us going here by answering this question. How much should the starters play on Saturday? Mike Tomlin said we're going to see everybody that is not injured in uniform and on the field there Saturday night. So how long do you think those starters should be playing? Now let's start with the first bit of news here, which is that Mike Tomlin has told the media that he plans to use Najee Harris in a limited fashion in practices here during the 2023 season. This might be one of the bigger reasons why we haven't heard much from Najee in camp, is because he's not getting a ton of reps. Backup running back Jaylen Warren is getting a lion's share of the first team reps right now, and Mike Tomlin says the reason for that is that he wants to preserve Najee's health. This is what he had to say. Not in response to any injury, it's just about the maturation of him as a professional and giving him what he needs. We don't live in fear regarding injury or injury history. He just needs less physical reps the older he gets. Now, when I think about this thing from Mike Tomlin, bringing in a preservative, kind of a conservative approach to Najee Harris and the way that he is approaching practices with him, I think it's definitely interesting, and I'm going to tell you what I think about it here in just a second. But first, the pinned comment on today's show. Do you agree with Tomlin's strategy to keep Najee mostly out of Steelers practices, especially during those heavy contact team drills during practices? Give me a Y if you think yes, or give me an N if you think no. Like I said, that's going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. When that happens, get in the comment section, find that pinned comment, and give me a Y or an N. And me personally, yes, I absolutely agree with this approach. We've seen it with running backs here throughout the last decade in the NFL. They have a certain shelf life, and the reason for that is that they take a lot of punishment to their bodies, man. Like by the time that they're 28, 29, a lot of these guys are washed because their bodies have taken so many hits over the years that they're just done at that point. Now, it seems like Mike Tomlin's approach here is to keep him fresh for as much as possible. Now, he's not keeping him out of practice entirely, right? He's still going through individual drills. He still gets limited reps with the team in those team periods, especially in red zone and in those short yardage situations. But he's trying to preserve Najee's health, which is probably a big reason why we haven't heard about too many big splash plays coming out of Najee here in Steelers training camp to this point. We've talked about on the show, is it time to worry about Najee? Because we just haven't heard much about him throughout this training camp process. But it seems like he's just not getting that many reps right now. And most of those first team reps are going to Jaylen Warren. And let me tell you, man, Warren's been looking really, really good. He's still a really young buck, so you can put him in there. You can take the punishment of those team drills that maybe Najee getting a little bit older, you want to preserve a little bit longer. But Warren's been looking really explosive. And as a number 2 running back, I am so excited to see what this pairing can do here, because I really do think it's going to be the identity of the Pittsburgh Steelers on offense this year, and I'm super excited to see what both Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren can do as a running back duo. Now, next on Steelers Talk, I'm going to be breaking down whether or not George Pickens is going to be better than Justin Jefferson in the National Football League. But before we get into that, let's have a word from our sponsor at RexMD. Fellas, do you wish that you could have a more fulfilling sex life? Well, you're not alone. That's why we're excited to tell you about our sponsor today, RexMD, the online source for men's wellness. RexMD offers an easy and discreet way to get your medication you need for ED without having to visit a doctor's office. With just a few clicks, you can have your medication delivered straight to your door and at a fraction of the cost of traditional pharmacies. RexMD's team of licensed physicians will work with you to find the right treatment plan, and their medication is made in the United States, so you can trust its quality. Plus, their customer support team is available 24/7 to answer any questions or concerns you may have. So if you're ready to take control of your sex life and say goodbye to ED, head on over to rexmd.com/chat and start your consultation today. Take advantage of their best deal they've ever offered and save up to 90% off and only pay $2 per dosage with our exclusive link. Go to rexmd.com/chat for this limited time deal. Starter packs of generic Viagra or Cialis are now available for our listeners to get started. That's rexmd.com/chat for up to 90% off. Now let's talk about George Pickens and ESPN's Ryan Clark, former Steelers safety, right? He says that George Pickens is much more talented. That is a direct quote from Ryan Clark than Justin Jefferson, somebody that many people in NFL circles believe is the best wide receiver in the National Football League as we sit here today. Now, in my personal opinion, I love George Pickens, man. I think he's going to be a superstar breakout type of player this year. I think he's going to be the alpha number one type wide receiver for this offense for the next decade. And I think that combination between him and Kenny Pickett is going to be something special. All right. So I don't make this to mean that like I don't like George Pickens, but Justin Jefferson, man, right now I think it's just a little bit too soon to be saying that George Pickens is already better than Justin Jefferson. You take a look at what Jay Jettas has done throughout his career with the Minnesota Vikings to this point has been simply phenomenal. 25 touchdowns in just 3 seasons, had 8 last year, over 100 yards receiving last season. Absolutely fantastic season from JJ, who just keeps getting better at this point. And when I look at a guy like George Pickens, who had a really solid rookie season, you know, I think that right now he's one of the best 50-50 ball receivers in the National Football League. I think he's going to take that next step and really join that superstar class that Justin Jefferson is currently a part of. But even if you look back at their rookie seasons, Justin Jefferson was the better receiver, at least from a pure value standpoint, right? 88 receptions to Pickens' 52. You know, much more yards, almost 600 more yards than Pickens in his rookie season. You know, you look at yards per game, almost doubles it, almost 40 more yards per game, 3 more touchdowns. And then you look at that stat there, the bottom one, that is points above replacement. That is a value metric that every single front office in the National Football League uses. It's similar to WAR in baseball, only in football you do points because there's less games. And Justin Jefferson absolutely blew George Pickens out of the water in their rookie seasons. Jefferson was the 3rd most valuable wide receiver back in 2020 in his rookie season, and George Pickens was only at 4.2 points above replacement last year. So that tells me that Justin Jefferson, at least for the time being, man, he is definitely above George Pickens in terms of the wide receiver rankings in the National Football League. But I want to hear from you down in the comment section. Who's going to have the better career when it's all said and done? Do you think it's Justin Jefferson? Give me a JJ down there in the comment section. Or if you think it's going to be George Pickens and you think he's absolutely going to be on fire for the next decade here with the black and gold, give me a GP down there in the comments. Right now, a little bit of a Steelers injury update, a little bit of a preview for that game against the Buffalo Bills. Mike Tomlin at his press conference today says that all non-injured starters are going to play on Saturday against the Bills. So that means TJ Watt, Cam Hayward, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Patrick Peterson, all these Pro Bowl players that they put out last week and they didn't play versus the Buccaneers will end up playing this week, at least according to Mike Tomlin. But there are 3 players that will not play and that they are still injured. Larry Ogunjobi, the defensive tackle, Nate Herbig, the interior offensive lineman, and Trey Norwood, the defensive back, will not be on the field on Saturday. And I want to talk a little bit about a couple of these injuries because the Steelers are pretty secretive about these kinds of things, the exact details of these injuries. We really don't know what is wrong with Larry Ogunjobi's foot. All we know that it's a foot injury. He's been in a walking boot all week. He was seen at practice today without that walking walking boot, so it seems like he is definitely making his way back gradually from that foot injury. And then also Nate Herbig. We haven't seen him at practice all week either with a shoulder injury. And, you have to ask yourself, how bad are these injuries really? Is it going to take them past the regular season to get over this, or is this just going to be a couple of weeks or two and they'll be ready to go? Nate Herbig definitely trying to join his brother on the 53-man roster this year. It seems like he's going to be a really good backup option for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year, but right now I'm really hoping that shoulder is going to be okay for big Herbig there in the middle of the offensive line. All right, that's going to be it for today's show, guys. Really do appreciate all the support. Give me a follow on Twitter if you want more NFL and Steelers content. I'm at Jack_Sperry, currently doing my top 40 quarterbacks rankings in the National Football League. So if that's something that interests you, give me a follow there on Twitter. I add a name every single day to my list. And then also make sure you click that subscribe button for the most comprehensive Steelers fan experience here on YouTube. We got live watch parties every Wednesday. We've got watch parties every single game that come in this year. We've got daily content 100% free. So if you want to become an expert on the Pittsburgh Steelers, this is going to be the place for you. Click that subscribe button for me right now.